Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again. Season 3, episode number 15. We are upon the final 3 games of the regular season. It has been a crazy long 82 games, and we're finally at the home stretch. I'm your host, Adam Rothschild, and alongside me is my co-host, Marquise Frias, once again joining me here today. And as per always, today's episode of Empire State Hoops is powered by Sport Pros USA. For more information, visit sportprosusa.com or call 877-HOOPS-NJ to make your dream court a reality today. So first off, before we start things off doing our usual recaps and previews and all of that fun stuff, we're going to talk about a specific player who has played in the NBA for... It seems like he played for a while.
Yeah.
Drafted in 2003, and this year's Hall of Fame class of 2025, a special congratulations to the Mr. Number 7, Carmelo Anthony. Great New York Knick, all-time great. Also played for the Denver Nuggets, Oklahoma City Thunder, Houston Rockets, Portland Trail Blazers, and the Los Angeles Lakers. And also Team USA. Don't forget he played in the Olympics as well.
One of the best Olympian players of all time, Melo is. So definitely shout out to Melo. As a young Knicks fan, I grew up on him. I mentioned this in my other podcast, but his 62-point game, his record-breaking game that was in the Garden, that was when I was like in first grade kindergarten. That was the first ever memory I have of like basketball in general. So shout out to Melo. You did a lot to me. You're a big inspiration to me. Shout out to Melo. I'm so happy to see that.
And I actually went to one of his book signings a couple years ago as well, so I did get a chance to talk to him a little bit and stuff too.
I trained one time. He was at my gym when I used to train for basketball back in the city, and I got to work out with his son Cayenne. So that was when he was really, really little, and so was I. But again, like just some cool stuff there. But again, shout out Melo, one of my favorite players of all time. Great thing to see him getting into the Hall of Fame and a first ballot too, which is impressive.
Yeah, it's fantastic, of course, especially for him and his career and what he's done post-career now. He's on the podcast now. He's doing with a bunch of guys, too, as well. So it's also what a lot of these players do post-career and even in their careers, too. We see podcasts starting, of course, LeBron and Steve Nash doing their thing as well. So,
and I think that's probably like one of the best things about this new age of media that we're facing into, because without these podcasts, we're not getting half of these stories. A lot of people shame on players having podcasts, at least during the season. And I understand that maybe your focus shouldn't be on your own media company. It rather should be on what you're putting on and off the court. But I love hearing the stories. Like Paul George, he has some great stories, and he brings along other players in his podcast. He has some great stories on there. So it's just things like that I love to see. So I definitely love these player podcasts for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's been the big thing of this generation. Of course, like you just mentioned, Marquise, a great point to bring up there for sure. So that brings us to the end of the regular season. The final 3 games are upon us, but we have a few to look back at, and this was a very intense week, and I can tell after last night, oh my, I mean, we went through it, but we're going to get to that game. I don't want to name that team right now because it's hard to talk about them because I hate them so much. But let's get to the point now for our first game we're going to talk about, the Knicks and the Hawks. This was back on Saturday, April 5th, this past weekend. Knicks beat Atlanta 121-105. Karl Anthony Towns leads the way for the Knicks, 30 points, 11 rebounds, another double-double to add to his stature in his spectacular first season with the New York Knicks. OG Anunoby, spectacular, 24 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and it was another great game for the Knicks. This is a game they really had to win, and now Trae Young is 7-17 in career games against the Knicks.
I wanted to include that part just because, like everybody says Trae Young owns New York. I talked about it with Ryan before. He thinks that he still owns New York, but then I tell him, oh, he's 7-17 against the Knicks, career all time. He's like, oh, really? Is he? I was like, yeah, man. I don't think you can say anybody owns something if they're 7-17 against them. But back to with the game. I mean, OG Anunoby, we've been talking about him so much, and I've been talking about him a lot recently as well. But in this stretch it was 15 games that we missed out on Brunson. In that whole stretch, he's been averaging 23.2 games. We've seen a lot of 30 balls within those 15 games. He's really been the offensive catalyst that we were looking for somebody to step up. And if you were to ask me, who was the player that's going to step up without Brunson on the floor, I would not have said OG Anunoby, but he thankfully did, and we saw a completely different Knicks team without our captain. But now that we have him back, we're trying to incorporate all those elements that we saw without him. So again, just great performance by OG in this whole stretch.
And again, it goes to the point of winning the games you're supposed to
Yep.
win, and the Knicks do exactly that. And against the Hawks team, that's really been up and down all season.
Yeah, and I've been talking about like kind of momentum games. This is definitely a momentum game if you're the New York Knicks, just because, again, the Hawks aren't the Hawks that we're used to seeing like as competitive, but I go back with the 76ers. It's a great day to beat the 76ers, even if they're the worst team in the league, just because that's a big momentum, big rivalry game that you want to win. And if you're the far superior team, you have to win those games. So, again, like you said, winning the games that we're supposed to and getting these momentum games are going to be huge down the stretch.
And that's exactly what the Knicks did. But when it comes to going down the stretch, they do that once again against another team that's really been surprising this year, the Phoenix Suns, who, as of, I believe, yesterday, after they lost to Golden State, they are now eliminated from getting into either the play-in tournament or the playoffs. So
that's actually crazy. I didn't know that.
So their season is basically done now. Kevin Durant will probably not be a Phoenix Sun after this season's over. He's most likely going to be gone, going somewhere else. We don't know where yet, but that's going to be the talk of the summer and the offseason with the Phoenix Suns. But it just seemed like Mike Budenholzer didn't fit the camaraderie of what this Suns team was trying to do this year. I think with Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, it's three guys you had who all want to have the ball at the same time. I mean, Bradley Beal is kind of a spot-up shooter guy, but he can still run an offense. So that's been the big thing with the Suns this year, but the Knicks did exactly what they had to do, of course.
Yeah, no, again, back with the game, I wanted to focus a little, or I was going to bring up a point about the Suns, but I'll talk more specifically about the game first. We failed to mention that this was Jalen Brunson's first game back. He had 15 points, 2 rebounds, and 6 assists, and 34 minutes played. I know me and you hated to see that high number of minutes, but I mean, it's a Tom Thibodeau coach team. That's what you're going to expect from that type of team. He had a clutch 3 in the fourth quarter, so that was, I think it was to stretch the lead out to like 10 with like under 2 minutes to play. So good to see that side of Jalen Brunson. I knew he wasn't going to have that crazy of a game, so only 15 points I'm not going to be mad at. But Mikal Bridges, 22 points against his former team, and then again, OG Anunoby, 32, 6, and 3. So, I mean, this was just another complete game from the Knicks, and then to get Jalen Brunson back was also a huge thing. But now I kind of want to shift over to what you said with the Suns. I've absolutely hated them since they traded Kevin Durant. For Kevin Durant, I feel like Kevin Durant now has become like a cancer. I think he's pretty much like a Stephon Diggs of the NBA right now, where wherever he goes, he's going to leave, and it's going to be not the same or even worse than it was when he came. And you're seeing that right now with the Suns. The Suns were, when they traded for him, like 2 years off a finals appearance. They got swept, or they got really beat up by the Mavericks in one of the playoff series. That's like the series where they came back in that Game 7, and it was just a crazy blowout. But if you're like the Suns, you're not making that big of a move. I don't think you would. So it was just a lot of stuff that gone wrong for them. And like you mentioned, the dynamic of the Suns is just to get every good player on their team, and it's obviously hasn't been working. So again, I don't know what the Suns are doing really, and it's kind of sad to see, just because Devin Booker is probably one of the best players of this generation. So for him to be wasting his prime out in Phoenix, it sucks to see a lot.
And we talked about this last episode. I brought this up about the Suns as well.
Yeah.
How, once again, it's a circle repeating of how this organization is being run because of the 2 NBA Finals appearances. Of course, they couldn't win in either one, and it showed why. It showed why in the end, because they immediately after they lost to the Bulls in '93, things just started slipping away.
Yeah.
And after they lose to the Bucks in 2021. Yes, they have a 60-win season the very next year, but they lost to Dallas in a Game 7 where they lost by over 50 points.
And I think those days were, even if it was in that 22 year, even though it was like a bad year where they did lose in the playoffs, I loved that team. Like, I absolutely love Chris Paul at the point guard. Devin Booker is going to be your main scorer, and then you have guys like Mikal Bridges, a young Mikal Bridges, being able to get it done. Cam Johnson, another young player. Pretty much Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges were like the same player. Cameron Payne was on that team, so a lot of former Suns on this New York Knicks team now. And then DeAndre Ayton. Like, I loved their lineup, and I thought if they can just continuously grow together, they'll be able to get somewhere. But they completely ditched that when they saw Kevin Durant on the opportunity with the trade. So they took it, and I'm still questioning that move. And now we're seeing why, because they're obviously not in a good place at all as a franchise right now.
Yeah, and they're looking to turn the tide, hopefully, and see what they can do in the offseason and maybe get a big asset back for Kevin Durant, a big trade value, because he still has that trade value. I know, even at 36 years old. So.
Yeah, Kevin Durant is one of the best players in the league. personally, I wouldn't want him on the Knicks, and we've had a lot of talks about Kevin Durant possibly joining the Knicks. I do not want him on the Knicks just because I feel like we don't need it. As a contending team, we're not one of those contenders that like need a piece in order to be way more contendership, if you know what I mean. Like, we don't need another piece in order to be good. We just need to like really gain chemistry and really know what type of basketball we need to play. And then trading away someone like OG Anunoby, I can see us easily trading for Kevin Durant, unfortunately, which would be probably one of the stupidest moves I've ever seen. But again, it's just all about finding where we need to improve, and it's not going to be in the trade market with Kevin Durant. It's going to be within this team. I think this team can get it done just a different way. So definitely no Kevin Durant for me this summer.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I just think he's going to end up on a contending team that we'll talk about this more down the road, of course, maybe in our closer for this season of the podcast. But now getting to last night, and it's this team. It's every single year. I mean, we didn't win a single game against them this year, guys. This is painful. Absolutely painful. It was the point where you saw in this game, it was the fourth quarter specifically. The Knicks, they had a chance to win, but I know before all of that, Josh Hart gets the layup on the beautiful feed from Jalen Brunson. That's one of the more difficult passes you'll ever see. And then on the other end, Jason Tatum, three-pointer, ties the game with 2.9 to go.
I've actually, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you on that, but I've heard talks that could have been a travel.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah, I've seen the video, and I've seen that move a lot, and I don't know if it's a travel. I think it's just some sorry Knicks fans right now. That was a pretty clean move to me, but I've seen both sides of that argument, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
The other thing that did pain me as well, a former New York Knick hits a 35-footer. Kristaps Porzingis, I don't know what to say. It's just crazy to me.
He honestly got fouled on that too, and they missed the call by Jalen Brunson closing out. But going back to Tatum, I mean, Tatum was just hell watching him just burn our defense constantly. I don't know why Mikal Bridges is still guarding Jason Tatum. In the 4 games that we've played the Celtics, Jason Tatum has dropped 37, 40, 25, and 32. The main assignment for Jason Tatum for the Knicks was Mikal Bridges. I don't think that's the right answer at all, considering what he's been doing to Mikal Bridges this entire season, and for him to still be on him throughout the duration of that end of regulation, I believe. It was completely like boneheaded to me. As soon as we put OG Anunoby on him, yes, he got that step back three off him still, but he didn't make a bucket for a little while. But again, it's just seeing Tatum killing us like that it genuinely was like, wow. Like, that's something like Michael Jordan does every time he's in the Garden, and Tatum is doing that, unfortunately. I'm comparing Jason Tatum to Michael Jordan in the Garden. That's how insane that performance was, but again, nothing new here. I expected a loss, so it's just heartbreaking to lose it the way we did last night.
And I want to stay with Mikal Bridges here because we know what happened on that possession. We were down by 3, 115 to 112. The inbounds was perfect. Towns had the ball. Everything was going so well until Mikal Bridges fumbled.
Yeah, I mean, if you literally look at the play, he has his arms out. It was a pass from the right from Karl Anthony Towns. He has his arms out, but he's not looking at the ball whatsoever. And that, as a football player, they always tell you, look at the ball and then secure it. He was ready to go as soon as he got the ball, and that's why he turned it over. So another letdown right there by Mikal Bridges. That was really hard to see. And again, the Celtics were just able to really call us their little brother and beat us again in our own hometown. So I'm not looking forward to a 7-game series for them. I can tell you that for sure.
I was saying this last night after watching Mikal Bridges drop that pass, and it reminded me of the New York Jets dropping passes all season, honestly. That's the point I got to. I was frustrated like a Jets fan watching the New York Knicks last night. That's how bad it was.
It was bad, yeah. I mean, you're the Jets fan, I'm the Giants fan. I've gone used to bad football, bad everything, but this isn't like the Giants, I think, where we're supposed to be good. We're supposed to be competitive. And for the first time this season, we were actually competitive against a top team. So I'm happy for that we at least showed some fight and fully healthy as well. So we know what our full capacity is. But if our full capacity is an overtime loss at home, then I think it's fair to say we're not getting it done this year.
And we're going to talk more about that in the second half of the episode, which, of course, we'll have the Cleveland Cavaliers in one of our final 3 games coming up. But before we go to the break, there's one more thing I do want to touch on. The news came out yesterday.
Oh, man.
When I saw this, I mean, my, oh, my, I was stunned. Denver Nuggets head coach Michael Malone and their general manager out of the office.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
I mean, craziest news I could have received at Tuesday, and I believe it was around like 1:30, 2 o'clock. I want to look at it from a Denver Nuggets standpoint, and more specifically looking at their owner for this move that they made. Why in the world are you getting rid of your most... I believe he's like the all-time winningest coach in Denver Nuggets history.
He is, yep.
He's gotten them their only ring in franchise history. Their GM, I know he came in at like 2020, so he's responsible for bringing in some of the key guys like Aaron Gordon, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who I know is not on the team no more, but he was there. We talk about that 2023 Nuggets team as a great team surrounding Jokic and the role players, and he brought in all those role players that got him to that ring. But going back to it, like, why do you make this move with 3 games left in the season, and you are, at the time, they were a 4th team in the standings right now at the West. So to me, this firing and both of these firings really just take away that contendership for the Nuggets. I think they could still get it done just off how good Nikola Jokic has been this season, but without Michael Malone, I mean, he really adapted to that offense and he made them play the offense that they've been playing now. It's crazy to see that move happen. I was absolutely stunned.
Let's also remember this, too. The guy was there through the Denver Nuggets rebuild.
Yeah.
When they drafted Nikola Jokic during a commercial. When they got Jamal Murray out of Kentucky.
Yeah.
And there was the dog days of where they were winning 25, 30 games in the regular season and missing out on the playoffs until 2019.
Jokic, Murray, and Karl Malone were there from the very start of it all. I mean, the earliest memory I have of the Nuggets being in the playoffs was that 2019 year where they lost in the second round to the Trailblazers. So, I mean, that was just crazy to see. And I've heard that they were planning on doing it anyways. They were planning on getting rid of Michael Malone and the GM in the summer had they not won a championship. But that doesn't justify you firing Michael Malone. You're winning. I'm not going to get over it. The only coach that got you a championship and the all-time winningest coach in your franchise, you get rid of them with 3 games to go left in the regular season, and you're going to be in the playoffs this year. In all honesty, now we haven't talked about where the Nuggets like really stand in the West. They're right now 4th, but if all the other teams behind them, they can jump ahead and they can easily end up in the play-in. So I can honestly see that the Nuggets, if they slip to the play-in, they won't even be able to make the playoffs, which would be absolutely crazy to say.
My last point here I wanted to bring up about this, I don't know if this has to do much with what's happened in the past, but when I first heard about the Luka Doncic trade, the one thing I first thought about that was branding and with finances and stuff like that. Because there's one thing about the new ownership with Dallas. There's been rumors that they've talked about the reason why they wanted to get rid of Luka is because of something else, that they wanted to potentially move the team to Las Vegas. And I'm thinking maybe a firing of a coach, maybe. I don't know if that necessarily has to go down that track.
I honestly haven't heard that one, so that's something I got to do a little more digging on, but that's kind of interesting. I kind of see where you're going with that one. Yeah, I haven't heard that one though yet.
Yeah, it's just there's been storylines about that, bits and pieces I've seen from watching videos and hearing what people have to say about certain things in regards to that. But that's just a thought I had. But still, nonetheless, another crazy coaching fire. And now there's still like the 3 longest tenured coaches in the league right now. I believe Greg Popovich and Eric Spoelstra are 2 of them. I believe right now.
Steve
still,
Kerr is the 3rd one. So that's honestly even crazier, just to think that somebody really that important to a franchise and who's really important to the league, like Michael Malone, is one of the premier coaches in the NBA. And to see him get fired with 3 games left in the season and a successful team, it's just absolutely crazy. This can go down as one of the worst coaching fires of all time, in my opinion.
And it's going to put pressure on the Nuggets players with the playoffs right on the horizon. So, of course, depending on who their matchup is, it's going to be a tough first round with them, with an interim head coach stepping in that kind of position. I can't even imagine like what they're going through.
I mean, I forgot to even mention that they have an interim head coach going into the playoffs. And it's not like he was coaching 20 games in the regular. It's going to be 3 games he gets in the regular season, and then he's off to the playoffs. And depending on how they do, either they're off to the playoffs or they're playing. And I know I forgot his name. I think his name is like David Adelman or something. I've heard that he's like he's a premier assistant coach. So he was destined to become an NBA head coach. But again, you shouldn't do that if you're the Denver. I hate this move on so many levels for the Denver Nuggets.
You said that was David Adelman, you said?
I believe so.
He might be the son of Rick Adelman. He was the guy who he coaches. I think he coached like the Sacramento Kings or something, I think.
There you go. I mean,
could be.
It runs in the family probably. Yeah. But again, I don't know too much about him. Just that I know that he's a really good assistant coach. I wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets honestly just have a crazy burnout throughout these next couple of games.
It's going to be tough, of course, not just for the Nuggets, but for every team, including our New York Knicks as well. And coming up right after the break, we'll get you ready for the final stretch of the regular season, the final 3 games of the regular season being the Detroit Pistons, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Brooklyn Nets. So we'll talk about all of that right after the break here on Season 3, Episode 16 of Empire State Hoops. We'll be right back.
Hey there, basketball fans. Are you ready to take your love for the game to a whole new level? Well, listen up. We've got something that will make your hoop dreams come true. Introducing Sport Pros USA, the ultimate destination for all your backyard sport court needs. Whether you're a diehard Knicks fan or just looking for some slam dunk fun with your family, Sport Pros USA has got you covered. Picture this. It's a sunny afternoon in New York, and you step out onto your very own custom-built backyard basketball court. The court where legends are born and memories are made. A court where you can unleash your inner baller and shoot hoops like your favorite Knicks players. But it's not just about basketball. It's about family, friends, and fun. Whether you're hosting a game of horse with your buddies or teaching your kids how to dribble and shoot, Sport Pros USA brings the magic of the game right to your doorstep. Our courts are more than just a place to play. They're a place to connect, bond, and create unforgettable moments. And with Sport Pros USA, you can have it all, right in your own backyard. We're not just building courts, we're building dreams. Dreams of buzzer beaters, comebacks, and endless laughter. So why wait? Give us a call at 877-HOOPS-NJ or visit sportprosusa.com today to start designing your very own backyard basketball court. Remember, at Sport Pros USA, we believe that every home deserves a court, and every family deserves the joy of playing together. So don't just watch the game, be a part of it.
And we are back here once again. This is Season 3, Episode number 16 of Empire State Hoops. I'm your host, Adam Rothschild, and alongside me is my co-host, Marquise Frias. Once again here as we are going to preview for the final 3 games of the regular season, being games 80, 81, and 82 for the New York Knicks. So, let's start things off right out of the gate with a potential playoff matchup being the young, gritty Detroit Pistons led by their star, Cade Cunningham, who seems like he can just shine on pretty much any stage. Yep. It seems like for what he's done this year, and their coach, JB Bickerstaff, who was coaching the Cavs last year, of course, and gets called up this year after Monty Williams is fired in the offseason. And they bring in Bickerstaff. Cunningham shines, has a spectacular season. And the Pistons have won two out of 3 against the Knicks this year. And the last time they met was the overtime game on January 13th. Pistons won that game 124-119.
Yeah, I'm just not looking forward to this game at all. Coming off a rough game against the Celtics. Yes, it was a close game, I should say. But, I mean, it's rough to lose that way. And especially against the Celtics that you needed a win there for overall morale and just being able to get off on the right step for the playoffs. You needed the win there, and now you got to step into Detroit. This is going to be the team we're going to see in the first round. I want to see more fight from the Knicks. I've wanted to mention this when we were talking about the Celtics. The overall integrity of defense on the Knicks side was really sad to see, and the most obvious stat that points to it was Kristaps Porzingis hitting 8 threes against us. If I am anyone on that Knicks defense, I'm not letting Kristaps Porzingis even touch the ball after he gets 5 threes. I would say as much as 3 threes. So it's just the integrity of the defense needs to step up for the playoffs, and I'm hoping to see that against the Pistons here. And again, like you said, probably one of the surprises of this year. We did not expect the Pistons to be this good. We did not expect Cade Cunningham to take the step that he took, but now he's really become one of the premier guards in this league, really. And again, of another rival to one of to Jalen Brunson's starting guard for the All-Star this year. So again, I just need to see a better effort from the Knicks. And I just want to see like really how we can match up well against them, because this, again, we're going to see this team in the playoffs. So again, not too excited, but I just want to see how we could do against them.
Absolutely, because that's going to be the big thing. Get to this Pistons team, because they don't focus their offense on just the outside shooting. They can do a little bit of everything. I mean, the inside, their defense, their shot blocking, it's spectacular. And I mean what they're able to do, what they're capable of. You got guys like Malik Beasley, who's really stepped into a big time role, and even Isaiah Stewart as well. He's stepped up. His game has improved a lot as well.
Yeah, one thing about the Pistons is that you mentioned all their great traits, but another great thing about them is just how they play as a team. I feel like they're one of the most fluid teams when it comes down to just overall chemistry. And you see that evidently just because, I mean, you got Isaiah Stewart getting in a fight every game, it feels like, but every single Piston is there to help him out. Like, you don't see anybody walking away when they have like a teammate in a scuffle or anything, and they get to a lot of scuffles. So we might see one against the Knicks, but again, I'm just really hoping that the Knicks, they come out with a different type of energy, knowing what type of game this means to them, and we just have to be a flat out better team than them in this game in order to win.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's going to be the point going into this game. Of course, that game will be on the road in Detroit. That will be the second of two final road games for the Knicks. Their final home game, though, will be against the best team in one of the best teams that has played in the NBA the entire season. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And they seem like they've been impossible to stop this year. Their offense is so fast-paced.
Yeah.
Even with their big guys in transition, it seems to work so well for this Cavs team. And, of course, the Knicks have not been able to win a game against them either, just like the Celtics. And the Knicks fell short in the last meeting just a few days ago, last week on April 2nd. Cavs won that game 124-105. Knicks had a point in this game where they were playing well. This was also without Jalen Brunson. And what they did this game, it was the second half where they fell short, and they just didn't really have anything going, and the Cavs did exactly what they needed to do. And how did the Knicks respond in the second to last game of the year?
You mentioned the last game where we had a great start in the first half, but we ended it off very badly, and then from there the Cavs just went on a run in the second half. And that really led to the Cavs win that game. If we get off to a good start, I need us to be able to keep that start. That's just flat. I know that it sounds easy, but it's really not for this Knicks team, just because we've seen it countless times. And in order for that to happen against the Cavs, you got to play a really complete game. The Cavs are probably one of the best teams I've seen in a long time. The Cavs and the Thunder, two of the best teams we have ever seen in the NBA. So it's just really. It's really hard to try to find a way to beat the Cavs. So I think it's just all about I'm not expecting a win here, unfortunately. I think it's just all about being able to really play as a team more than they play as a team. And again, if we get off to a big lead, keep that lead. Do whatever it takes not to get them hot, and because if they do, they're gonna come back like they did last time. So just play as much as you can, and keeping the score at your level for sure.
Yeah, and the center matchup is always a great one to watch, and also the point guard duel is also going to be a good one as well. So, especially with Brunson back in the lineup, we'll see if it makes a difference. We'll see if it doesn't. So, we're hoping for the best.
Yeah, I'm interested to see who we really put out there on Donovan Mitchell. I'm guessing it's going to be Mikal Bridges, but let's say if he's lacking, do we put on Deuce McBride and get him off the bench for him, or do we put Josh Hart on him? I don't know. There's a lot of different. We could throw a lot of different people at Donovan Mitchell, and really see what works. But again, it's just really about being able to play as a team and holding up to leads and not letting them go on any type of runs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's going to be the difference maker in this game for both teams, rather, because we know the Cavs don't really have that much to play for. They've clinched the number one seed. They're just waiting on whoever they play in the first round of the playoffs, pretty much. So that's really going to be the case for the Cavaliers. But for the Knicks, you got to just find a way to win at least one of these last three games to clinch the 3 seed.
I think any one of these 3 games, actually, really any winning either the Pistons or the Cavs game does a lot. Considering the next game is going to be against the Nets, and we're most likely going to sit people depending on where we stand. By the way, the Knicks are locked up into the 3 or 4 seed. And I'll ask this question later on, but I'm trying to like figure out different ways we can arrange our starters just in case the Pacers just so happen to catch up for us for that 3 seed. But again, I think everybody should definitely play this game. Go out there like it's going to be a playoff game and treat it that way, and we can see really how good this Knicks team goes in that type of environment.
And the best case scenario for that, of course, leads up into the final game of the regular season, Knicks versus Nets. And I mean, this game, we talked about it before we even started the recording. The goal, of course, you're assuming these next 2 games against the Pistons and the Cavaliers have the starters play like it's a playoff game, and then sit them through this game and just let everything else handle itself.
Yeah, and that brings me up to my question. So right now, we talked about this before the recording. The Knicks need to pretty much lose out, and the Pacers need to win out in order for the Pacers to jump the Knicks for the 3 seed. If the Knicks are 0-2 by the time we get to this Nets game, and the Pacers are 2-0, do you consider playing the Knicks starters just to hold on to the 3 seed and have a better chance at winning, obviously? Or do you just don't care and you just fall for the 4th seed and we either get the Bucks or the Pistons again? I don't know. It's just an interesting question. I wanted to see your thoughts on it.
Because that's a great question, actually, because it's really a debate here. Because you think about this, you're the 4 seed, you win that series.
You're right.
You're going to play Cleveland. So if you're the 3 seed, you're going to play Boston.
I think honestly, with it's gonna either be we play the Pistons with the 3 seed. It's gonna be the 3 and 6 matchup. Next round we'll play the Celtics if we win. If we drop to 4, we play the Bucks most likely. And we play the Cavs in the second round. So it's really just pick your poison because I'm not confident against any of those teams in the West or in the East. So it's like pick your poison. Hopefully we don't get to that stage where we have to think about resting. I think the best idea is just to rest no matter what. And we'll just deal with it, whatever we can do in the playoffs. But again, it's just going to be all about finishing strong through this entire next game stretch because these are very important games for the Knicks. So having an important schedule with last 3 games is not the way you want to end the season, but if we could just finish it on a good note, I'll be fine with that.
And that's going to be the goal, of course, and that's what we're looking forward to as the regular season is concluding over these next several days and will be done by Sunday. But next week, in our NBA playoff preview for 2025, we will recap some matchups from the play-in tournament, which will be starting on Tuesday. And then with the playoffs most likely starting next weekend, we will get you set for not just the New York Knicks, but for a lot of other playoff series that we will talk about throughout the East and the Western Conference. So we will get you ready for all of that as well, and we cannot wait with the NBA playoffs starting next week.
I think that this playoffs can go down as one of the best just because of looking at it right now. We still don't know who's going to get in the West. The Nuggets, like we previously talked about, have a potential to slip all the way to the play-in and potentially lose out from playing in the playoffs. And that's absolutely crazy just because of how dominant Nikola Jokic has been. He's my runaway MVP right now, and with him being in the 8th seed, it's kind of crazy to say. So, again, this whole entire season has been great, and it's all going to be leading up to another great playoffs.
It absolutely will, and it's been a great, spectacular NBA regular season once again here in 2025. And this episode of Empire State Hoops has been powered by Sport Pros USA. For more information, visit sportprosusa.com or call 877-HOOPS-NJ to make your dream court a reality today. So, 3 games left to go in this season. The playoffs right around the corner. The play-in tournament right around the corner. Make sure to tune in. Lots of basketball. March Madness is done. The NBA playoffs are here. Florida won the Natty. I'm very happy. I got 5 bonus points in my sports announcing class.
Oh yeah, we did get that. Let's go. Okay.
That was perfect.
Exactly.
It was right down to the wire too, so that was great too. But we'll see you next week for a playoff preview from here on Empire State Hoops. I'm Adam Rothschild. That's Marquise Frias, and we'll see you next week for the NBA playoff preview.